is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show is Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch. Mr. Mayor, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for making time for us. Always good to have you on the program. And, one of the things we're going to talk today about, Mr. Mayor, is kind of downtown. A lot of things happening in downtown. But first, I want to say, and this is kind of one thing you wanted to touch on, but, I had to make my way through downtown in the evening one night a week or two ago, and just noticed how festive the square feels. You've got good decorations up. You've got the trees on the square. The courthouse looks really nice now. Just so much going on in Lincoln as it relates to the holidays. You folks have done a good job over there.
Yeah, I've talked with a lot of people about it, and it's really a collaborative effort among many different people. But yeah, I mean, the county, they've knocked it out of the park this year. I mean, the lighting that's been put on the courthouse as part of the restoration, those lights, they're permanent and they can actually change colors. So I happened to walk out of City Hall one night and saw them rotating through the changes. Very cool. But downtown businesses have done a great job of decorating and raising money to do that. And the city, we put lights up on the poles down there. But the county's got Scully and Latham Park looking phenomenal, and we got the ice skating rink down there. I mean, it is truly something out of a Hallmark movie.
So what's been the change? When did the city kind of decide, hey, we need to take up some of these things and make this place look more festive when the Christmas season rolls around? What happened there?
Well, I gotta be honest with you. I'd love to give the city credit for this, but I think the county has done the more noticeable changes with the parks. Because if you go over to Latham Park and see, they've got lights up there. In Scully Park, they've got lights up in there. There's an ice skating rink. They've got a snow globe that you can climb in and take pictures with your family. Photo frames they put out. The lights downtown. Plus, Kathy Williams and her family, they organized the trees on the square. And, when you got almost 100 trees or more surrounding the courthouse that's lit up, and the buildings have lights on all of them, and all the light poles do. I mean, altogether, it's just great.
Well, Mr. Mayor, as it relates to downtown, some other things coming along to beautify the vicinity. What's going on? What else do you have coming up?
Well, the mural that we've been talking about for a while is finally, the draft is done, and it has been approved by the council, and we've allocated funds for it. So we've been talking about doing this for a while, a Route 66 mural, but something that encompasses everything about Lincoln, the things that make us who we are. And we partnered with the owners of Rio Grande. They have a really nice building and an open area to put the mural, and you can see it as you're coming into town on Kickapoo Street or Route 66. And so it'll be right there. You'll be able to see it. Another great partnership with them to make things happen.
Yeah, and isn't Route 66 kind of celebrating some big milestones coming up, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, in the next few years, it's the Route 66 Centennial. And so not just us, but Pontiac, Atlanta, Springfield, everybody's kind of gearing up for this and trying to put your best foot forward when it comes to Route 66. We started this a while back. We created a commission that is supposed to focus on these type of things, and so this is just part of that.
Yeah, for sure. And just in general, Mr. Mayor, I know downtown has kind of gone through a transformation in the last several years. I noticed there's now four-way stops at each intersection. There's not stoplights anymore. That was a big change from a few years ago. I know you've done some sidewalk work and streetscaping and things of that nature. Just speak to the transformation that the downtown square has seen in the last several years.
Yeah, that the streetscaping started before I was the mayor, and Pulaski Street did get done, and that requires grant funding and things of that nature. But just had a conversation last night, and we're going to talk about some other options to continue that streetscaping. Yeah, the stop lights that were there, they were old. They were continually blinking red. You couldn't even get the parts for them anymore, and people got accustomed to the flashing red lights, and that caused them to go through, and there were accidents down there. So the decision was made to take those out and put more current modern stop signs in there on decorative poles. And I think it's worked out very well. It kind of blends into the theme of the rest of downtown. And yeah, the downtown is coming along nicely.
Really is. Very good. Again, Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch, our guest on the phone here for this morning. Mr. Mayor, just as it relates to City of Lincoln, what else has been going on lately? What's kept you folks busy over there?
Well, one of the things that's kept me busy the last couple weeks is that our fire chief has announced his resignation. And so he's actually resigning and retiring as of today. Today will be his last day. So we had to put a hiring committee together, vet candidates, seek feedback, and we've made a recommendation for his replacement. It'll go to the council next week for approval. And I think that, the fire department is in a really great place because of Chief Donosky and former chiefs. And we're looking forward to seeing what our new chief will do as he moves us forward into the future with that department.
Are you able to say who the new chief is going to be, or who will be nominated for that?
Yeah, it's a matter of public record. We put it on the agenda. His name is Ty Johnson.
Okay.
Ty has been an assistant chief for quite a while, and we did an interview all assistant chiefs, and it wasn't just Ty was the best. It was that some of them felt that they wanted to be focused in other areas within the department and things of that nature. So, but overall, Ty is who the committee chose, and we've talked extensively with him about some of the things we'd like to see in the department moving forward, and he has a shared vision for that, and so I think it'll be good.
So the fire department moving forward. Now, Mr. Mayor, the question becomes: when is the fire department going to get a new station? Isn't that something they've kind of been clamoring for a while now?
Yeah, that is so much.
I can tell you're so excited to talk about this.
No, I mean, I do love talking about it, but it's a huge rock. It's not just a big rock; it's a huge rock. That will require a lot of money. But I will tell you that years ago, when Seth Goodman was the mayor, we purchased the lot next to City Hall, and we didn't know when that could happen. We still don't. But the idea was that we could build a new structure on that lot and give the department a little bit more room to operate, give them some better living quarters, things of that nature. But we always have to keep in mind that our firehouse is one of the oldest operating firehouses. And so if we take operations out of that building, we lose that status. And so, we don't know where the mix will fall, but yeah, we do have a lot where we could build a new station, and we'll see what happens.
Very good. So potentially some movement there. And, as we talk about first responders, Mr. Mayor, I know that by the way, anything else on fire department, new chief, anything like that I didn't touch on you want us to know?
Nope, all good.
As it relates to first responders, you were telling me that your police department is going to get a new addition. Talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so we have been talking for a while about a K-9 for the department, and that's a process you have to go through. We just don't go pick a dog up and then bring him back. It really is, and some people believe that. But, because that's how everybody gets pets and animals and things. But those dogs, they're actually, they're a part of an academy. And so our police officer, and it's Officer Phillips is our K-9 officer, he went over to Indiana. He spent weeks over there just looking at the dogs they had available, finding the best match, because technically you go out on the street, they are partners, so they have to work together. And then, learning about that dog, what that dog is imprinted to detect, and see if that matches what we need in our community. And so it was a lengthy process to go through, but he got certified. Diesel is our new dog's name. He got, yeah. So we got Diesel and Officer Phillips, but he got certified yesterday by ISP, and so he'll be hitting the streets with Officer Phillips here soon.
Very good, very good. Now, am I remembering right? Like Lincoln hasn't had a canine unit in a while. I could be wrong, but I don't know why that's ringing a bell in my mind.
Not for a very long time.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So the need is there for sure.
Yeah, they need that tool to help them in the police work that they do throughout the community. And, another important thing is that dogs that were previously, they call it being imprinted. It's the things that they've been trained to detect. In the state of Illinois now, as you know, marijuana has become legal. And so those dogs that were trained for that, that becomes a challenge, because then they could falsely detect things that are now legal. So those were some of the things they had to work through when they were choosing dogs to move us forward into the future that aligns with the laws that have been passed by the General Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
always staying up current.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, as it relates to just getting a police dog, is that an added expense on the city side? I mean, I venture a guess it's probably a lot like having an officer. I mean, you don't have a salary or anything like that, but there's things like the dog care and veterinary care, that sort of thing. What kind of expenses come with a canine unit that maybe folks don't think about, Mr. Mayor?
Well, it's exactly what you said. That canine will live with Officer Phillips. They are, partners, and so we'll have to feed the dog. We'll have to provide care for the dog, living quarters, things of that nature. Hopefully, there are no incidents where he gets injured. But that's the risk of officers in general, and he'll be out there doing the work with the officers. So it's those type of expenses that we could see coming, but it's an expense that is worth it, and one that the council felt that we needed on the police force.
Am I allowed to ask what Officer Phillips' first name is?
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
That's all right.
It's a matter of public record. It's on our city website.
Oh, okay. I just was curious.
Yep.
I was curious if you knew. At any rate, I went to high school with a couple Phillips, so I didn't know if that was one of them. But at any rate, Mr. Mayor, I'll tell you what, good conversation. Let's take a break here. Where do folks go to learn about all things Lincoln, Illinois?
Yeah, if you want to learn about things Lincoln, go to destinationlogancountyil.com or lincolnil.gov.
That is Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch, our guest on the phone. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.org.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn steady, beans lower, wheat trading higher. March corn up 3/4, $4.80. May corn unchanged, $4.92. December new crop 508 3/4, up 1/4. January beans down 2, 13.12. March beans 13.28 1/4, down 3 3/4. November new crop 12.71 1/2, down 9 1/4. March wheat 6.21 3/4, up 6. July wheat up 4 3/4. 636 1/4. January bean meal 403.70 unchanged. January bean oil 48.67, down 84 cents. Livestock market at this hour. January feeders 218.95, down 40 cents. December live cattle 167.30, down 20 cents. February lean hogs 70.17, down 30 cents. Energy market, January crude oil 71.07, down 51 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio.
Chip Flory here, the host of AgriTalk, the nation's longest-running agriculture talk show. I'm here to remind our listeners on Central Illinois' agriculture station, WHOW, that you can hear our show weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on WHOW's many platforms. On the Big 1520 across Central Illinois, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, and now on 106.5 FM in Logan County, and on the WHOW app. AgriTalk on WHOW.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. CEO Paul Scarron reminding you our walk-in clinic inside our family medicine building will treat your flu symptoms without an appointment. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the phone, Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch, is with us today. Mr. Mayor, it is levy time. What's going on with the levy in Lincoln?
Yeah, every year we have a conversation about where we're going to put the tax levy, if we're going to keep it flat. This year there's some conversations about increasing that to 2.5%. And the idea behind our tax levy when we raise it is that we have to cover pensions. And you know, pensions across the state of Illinois are underfunded, so they've got to be fully funded, I think, by 2040. So we're trying to set pace to make that goal for future councils, and that's kind of where our mindset is when it comes to the tax levy.
Sure. When it comes to the levy there, Mr. Mayor, is that fund the entire city budget, or are there other sources of revenue besides it?
Yeah, we have other sources of revenue. I mean, that's part of property tax. We have gaming tax and motor fuel tax, and now we're talking about cannabis tax from the new dispensary here in town. So it's the services of the city from the clerk's office and things of that nature. So it's one of many sources of revenue.
Very good. So as it relates to the levy itself, Mr. Mayor, the debate on raising it, lowering it from year to year, talk a little bit about how you approach that and, you know, where the council stands with some of those things.
Yeah, typically the treasurer drives this conversation, but, you know, we had a really good discussion here in council this past week about it. And really for us, where we have our discussions is, are we going to keep it flat? Do we need to increase that revenue? There are some that feel we need to cover pensions. There are some that believe that we can cover that pension debt, some of it with the new cannabis tax, because that'll start to be rolling in. But, you know, also there's some aldermen that are trying to be very conscious about increased taxes for the people in general, because when we raise the tax levy, it has the potential to raise people's property taxes, and even if it's a fraction, it's still a raise. And so try to be conscious of that, because we're not the only taxing body in Logan County. There's well over 10 taxing bodies, and so we got to kind of keep our eye on what other taxing bodies are doing and do what we feel is best for the constituents, but also to ensure that we have the proper funds to continue to run and operate the city.
Right. That's a good point that you bring up. You know, the levy, there's so many other taxing bodies that have to be a part of that. And so, you know, I was just curious how conscious you are of what they're doing and how much you're watching and monitoring where they go with some of those things.
We do. We kind of keep an eye on that. And, you know, when you look at your tax bill, there's a pie chart on the bottom of it. And of that pie, the city of Lincoln is only like 12%. So we're a small fraction of where your money goes for the overall taxes. A lot of it goes towards education across many different institutions and organizations. So, obviously education is important. We need that for our children today and our children tomorrow. But again, I think every elected official, whether you're on a school board, the city council, a library board, whatever, that it's definitely a tough conversation to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you brought up a good point about pensions, Mr. Mayor. How are Lincoln pensions? There's fire, police. I'm not sure what else there is. I think retirements and things of that nature. How are all those pensions looking in Lincoln right now?
Well, we're in the same boat as many other municipalities across the state, and our pensions are underfunded at this time by several million. And the treasurer provided a sheet for us to work off of. But the idea really with us is that we know we're underfunded. We were handed that when we came into office, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just different priorities, different administrations and councils. But what I would like to see going forward is that we do some projections. Obviously, you can't put your finger on everything when it comes to pensions because there's a lot of things that go into factor. There's the employee contribution, how the stock market's doing, what the city's contributing. But it would help us as a tool if we can kind of annually reassess where we're at so that we could have a better chance of hitting that target in 2040.
Yeah, for sure. Very good. Pension's a big topic, especially if they're underfunded. So got to keep up with those as well. Very good. Well, Mr. Mayor, anything else on levies? Anything else on budgeting? Anything that we didn't touch on in there?
No, covered a lot.
I got about a minute with you, sir. Anything you want to talk about coming up, whether it's holidays, New Year's, anything in the community that's coming up folks should know about?
No, I think everybody should take time in the holidays. I'm a really big advocate for work-life balance. And, obviously we have to work, but make sure you take a little time to spend with your family and your friends and take your mind off things for a while. Not just here in Lincoln, but everybody who's listening. I think that's important.
Very good. Well, Mr. Mayor, it's check out downtown Lincoln. Good stuff there in terms of the Christmas vibes and all the happenings. And we just appreciate you making time for us as always. Happy holidays to you and yours, and we'll catch up on the other side of the new year.
You as well.
That is Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch on the phone with us here for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It is brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Of course, we stream live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.